Hi guys, I just want to make a quick video of how I use dot grid pages in my Plum planner to make bullet style journal collections. I know a lot of people buy the pre-printed add-ons for the Plum planner for like cleaning or household management or whatever. I never have. I always get dot grid pages at the back. I used to get 40 pages. I never came close to using them. This year I only got 30. They're only a few dollars. And they are printed front and back, so 30 pages really gives me 60 pages to write on. You can get them in dot grid, you can get them in lined, and I believe you can get them in blank. But I want to show you how I use mine. First, let me show you, it is not dot grid, but the first section of the planner, like you have the special dates that are pre-printed to write in your days of the year. The next one comes blank, like this. I make this my grocery list and meal ideas. I printed out labels, but you can just write them in. Mostly I shop at Kroger because that's what's close to my house, and they have good weekly ad deals. But I also shop at some other stores like Costco, Aldi, Trader Joe's, and what I have done is made a list of things that I frequently buy from those stores, either because they're a great deal or it's a specialty item that I can only find there. And that way, if I'm going to one of those stores and making a list, I can check this and be like, oh yeah, I should add that to the list because I usually buy that there and we're low or we're out of something. So that's very helpful to me. On the next page, I do my meal ideas. I have summer, winter, and all year. It's just ideas where if I can't think of what to make, I can easily look at this list and get some ideas of something that is something we frequently make, that's easy, that I don't need a recipe for. I'd love to get some more ideas and actually fill out the rest of the columns. But with that, let me flip you to the dot grid. Lefty's gonna come up here and say hello. Yeah, why don't you go? Perfect. That's perfect. How about you sit? How about you sit? Yeah, that tail. That tail is deadly. Okay. Okay. Sit. Sit. Yeah, I know you're not a dog. Okay. So the first page is my index. I printed these out on my Silhouette, but you could write them in. And this just tells me what page whatever collection is going to be on. These do not come numbered. I number mine in the corner. But let me give you a quick flip through. My first page is page divisions. It just tells me how to set up the page. It makes it easier to create divisions. I usually have a horizontal one as well. I forgot to put it in here this year, but that's okay. I got a new idea from another YouTube channel that I will link, which is a ruler. And I just took a page out of last year's that I hadn't written on, folded it over and glued it together, and then you can make divisions. Makes it much easier to make a spread. So there's a horizontal and a vertical. They're color coded to divide your page into halves, thirds, fourths, or fifths. So that's very handy. That was new this year for me. Next is my future log for 2024. Just blank boxes for each month of the year. I don't have anything planned yet for 2024 because it's not even 2023 yet. But as the year progresses and things start to, you know, I got to do this in February next year. This is a great place to jot it down so it's easier to transfer into your next planner. Year in pixels. You can buy a spread for this, like a full-size sheet. I think Planner Kate makes them. They're pretty easy to make on your own with a ruler. I track my mood with mine. You can track habits or whatever you want. I have a habit tracker on my weekly spreads where I track my mood, and then when I have time, I just transfer that data into the year in pixels. Last year I was really good for like the first half a year of tracking, not so good for the second half of the year, but it is what it is. This is my happy hour spread, which is kind of silly, especially now that my husband works Monday through Friday and we don't have like weekday dates anymore where we go out for like apps and drinks. Mostly I just go to my local Books and Brews on Wednesday or Thursday afternoons for a pint or two. But this is a place I can track like cocktail deals, beer deals, you know, whatever. It's just for fun. Let's see. Next, I have my Shark Week tracker. This washi was from Dollar Tree. I love it with the giant sharks. It cracks me up. Last year, I wrote these all out by hand, all the monthly dates, and that was tedious AF. So this year, I just made strips on my silhouette and cut them out. I think for next year, I think I'll shrink this down just a little bit so it's easier to manage. But the idea is when I start my period on my monthly spread, I put a little tiny red teardrop. And then when I'm finished, I can just take a highlighter and track through there. Not everybody needs a period tracker. You know, it is what it is. Related, next is my weight log. I'm one of those people that my weight goes up and down. Lately more up than down, so weight log. I just wrote in the first Monday of each week and then a place to track the weight for there. So the next is my reading challenges. Last year I just did the Pop Sugar reading challenge. This year I'm adding the 52 book club reading challenge, and just a couple days ago I decided to go crazy and added a third for my local library, but that one's only 10 books. Unfortunately, I'd already made these spreads, so I had to add it at the end, so they're not in order. But I should be able to double dip. My goal is to read books primarily for the Pop Sugar Challenge. If that book happens to fit a challenge in, or a prompt in the other, then it will get filled out. So this was a nice printable that Pop Sugar had. I just printed it on sticker paper and stuck it in there. I could not find a really good printable for the 52 book, so it's just a list, but I can write in the book that filled the prompt for that. Next, I have my shows to watch. I just took clip art of these little TVs, printed out a bunch of them on sticker paper, and when people recommend a show to me, I can jot it down in here so I don't forget. A lot of times I hear about a show and I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch that, and then like by the next day I've completely forgotten what that is. So this is for me to remember what I wanted to start watching. This is just a school calendar that I printed out that's got like spring break and the last day of school on there for the year. I don't have the one yet for fall, so I'll have to make another spread when we get to that point. Okay, this is my trade time tracker. It's a very basic spread. At work, we are allowed to trade shifts. We have a computer program that is supposed to track that, but it sucks. It sucks balls. So it's so much easier to just keep it tracked on paper. So these are the people I normally trade with. I can add more names. When we started this year, this is the number of hours that they owe me, and I can add or subtract as the year goes on. Oh, hit the camera. Okay, this is my gift idea spread. Each box is like a family member name, and the idea is that as the year goes on, if I think of ideas for, hey, that would be a great present for so-and-so, to jot it in the box, and then when it comes time for Christmas or a birthday, then I have ideas of what to buy for them, instead of waiting to the last minute and not having any idea. I've used this spread with varying degrees of success over the years. The little washi bow stickers are from AliExpress, and I think the balloon washi is also. Okay, this is my cleaning schedule. I just made these little post-it notes on Silhouette and filled in things that I should do, you know, twice weekly, weekly, whatever. We'll see how well I follow it. I think next year I might do maybe like a more monthly thing, because I was thinking, like I put down annually, clean the oven. That's something I always do in the winter because it's way too hot to do it in the summer. But I kind of like to do it twice a year, like maybe in early winter and then again like before spring starts. So we'll see. We might make some adjustments with that next year. This is very basic, words to remember. I like to write down quotes, things that I find interesting during the year, and write them down here. A lot of times I use them as quotes on my planner covers, but sometimes I don't know, just stuff that interests me. This is my new recipes, and I made this a 2-page spread. So a lot of times I will cook something and I was like, wow, that's fantastic. We definitely have to make that again. and then I never ever make it again and can't remember what it is. So the idea is to track the name of the recipe, where I got it from, any notes, and if I'd make it again. So hopefully this will be a helpful spread for me coming this year. This is also a very basic spread. This is my credit card tracker. I used to do like hardcore credit card churning. I don't anymore. I just don't have time for it. But I do need to track the credit cards. I have not finished filling this out. My credit cards, when the anniversary date is, what the annual fee is, how long that card's been opened, and any benefits that I get from that card. So I know like what card to use for what purchases. I find that very helpful. Related to that is my travel awards tracking spread. I have my airline programs that I'm in, my hotel programs that I'm in, and come January 1st, I will write down the number of points that I have in each. I have a place to update that in like the 6-month half mark for the year, whether I've used them or I've added more, and when those points expire if they do. Related to that, I have my travel spreads. Previously, I just used a large like global map, and I would try and put multiple trips on one map, but it was too hard, too small. So this year I've decided to do a separate map for each trip, and I just printed these out found them on Google and printed them out and stuck them in here. So my January trip is a Caribbean cruise. I have my flight information and the itinerary. I need to book my excursions and write them down here. That'll be my first trip of the year. My brother is getting married in Turkey in June, and that is going to be a big trip, which I've started planning, and I really should have done a 2-page spread for this trip because there's a lot of moving parts to this trip. So many flights. I've booked the major flights and most of the hotels, but there's still a lot of things to plan. We're flying to Istanbul, then down to Marmaris, where he's booked a resort for the wedding. And then after that, we're going to fly to Dubrovnik, spend 4 days in Dubrovnik, and explore. And then we have 1 day in Vienna on the way home. So I will probably end up making a second spread on a different page to track some more things about that. The last trip that I have planned for the year is a transatlantic cruise from Rome to Fort Lauderdale in December. I've only planned, the only thing I've actually booked for this trip, because it's not until the end of the year, is the actual cruise. I have not booked flights, hotels, or anything else yet. So I did leave myself another page for this one so I can plan out the rest of that trip. And then this I just added last night. It's my 3rd reading challenge. I have not decorated this page yet. It's only 10 books. It's through my local library, and I just went ahead and signed up for it. But I just printed out the prompts and what books that I will use for that. So I have plenty more dot grid pages to go where I can add things. I find it very useful. I don't like to be tied down to, I don't know. I just don't think that I would use the Plum Paper add-ons. I'd rather make my own. I love the idea of bullet journaling. I do not have the patience to write out a weekly spread. I love my pre-printed planner, but I like the flexibility of having these in the back. The last thing I will show you is the contact page. I don't use it for contacts. I do use it for swatches though. So I have all of my mod liners, my Crayola Super Tips, and color pens that I just swatch on the paper. And then you can see bleed through on the back. I thought about this year printing out like a grid that was like pre-numbered that I could fill in, but then you can't tell bleed through. So I don't know, we'll see. We might change that up for next year. But that is it. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you got some ideas of what to do with your dot grid.